I just had the conversation with my 8-year-old daughter about everything that's going on. And I had to talk to her as if I was talking to my friend that was 33 years old, just like I am. Like, I had to talk to her with that realness and that vividness so that she's not shocked by anything when she gets older.
Yeah. I mean, what was that conversation like? I mean, did you have to show her videos of, protests or even George Floyd? I mean, she's young. I mean, I don't know if you'd want to.
These kids know so much more than
I'm sure they do. Yeah.
I asked her, do you know who George Floyd is? She said, yes, Daddy. He's the one that died by the policeman. It's the first thing she said to me. Before I even had the conversation and before I even got into it, that's what she said to me. That's what she knew George Floyd as, one. And then we're just laying there, we're watching CNN and the protests are going and we're watching it. And then I was like, it triggered to me like, wow, I don't think I've ever had this conversation with her. I need to have it. Like right now in this moment, while we sit here, while we watch this on television, so she can not only hear my words and what I'm saying to her, but she can visualize what I'm saying and how it's coming to fruition right before her eyes on television. Mm-hmm. That was kind of the best part of, I mean, you never want to have that conversation. I shouldn't be having this conversation. But the best part of it was that I was able to give a direct correlation to what I was saying so she can process that and put it towards what was happening on the TV screen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it must have been a tough conversation to have. And I know a lot of parents are having those tough conversations, which is so important that they should be having, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have to have these conversations. I think this is the reason why we have generational things that continue and cycles that continue to happen, because these parents aren't having the conversation. All parents, not just black parents especially, because of what we go through on a daily basis and things that we face. But white parents need to have these conversations as well so that they can start to shift their minds and think differently. If you begin to learn differently and think differently, this world will become a better place slowly but surely.
Yeah. I mean, what kind of questions was your daughter asking you?
She was more listening and just, you can tell, and the way I was saying it was very stern and very just direct, to the point where she was like, oh, this is Daddy serious? I need to listen to this. You know what I'm saying? So she was just being more receptive, but I was looking at her face while I was saying it, and I could tell that parts of it left her confused because she couldn't understand why people wouldn't like her because of the color of her skin. I could just tell that mentally she was just like, huh? Like, what are you talking about, Dad? Mm-hmm. But as I continue to break it down and talk to her and tell her it's just the way this has been, I'm going to teach you history later about how things have just life and slavery all the way up until now. And you'll start to understand, and then why people protest. This isn't the first time. There's been other instances. There's been other instances exactly like this one that we've seen in the past where we've gone on and So I'm giving her all of these information for her to be like, oh, Dad, this isn't just happening right now. This has been a thing that's gone on well before me. And I think that's the part that she started to conceptualize.
Definitely. I mean, how do you recommend we talk to children about police? I mean, you kind of talked about it a little bit, but kind of expand on that.
Yeah, I think, that's a good question. I think it's, again, it's education, right? You have to instill education in the young kids so that they know their rights. They know the things that they can and can't do during a routine traffic stop, for example, so that they come in with an understanding so that when they're spoken to or when they're handled in a way that isn't right, they understand the law and they understand what they need to do to defend themselves verbally without getting angry, without, becoming disgruntled, by showing a sense of knowledge that you understand your the right and what's right and wrong in this instance, mm-hmm. and you can be able to react upon that. So I think it's first giving them education and just talking to them. I think you just got to be real with your kids now, man. You just have to literally talk to them as if you're talking to an adult, because you want them to learn, especially things like this. They have to learn it the way you got it. And I got it by learning out there in the streets and learning through my community. And I have to talk to them the way I learned it out there in the streets,
Definitely. How, if you are a white parent, how do you talk to your kids?
I would talk to them and tell them that, understand this world and be a better person. Understand that it's one thing for you to be in your community, in your house as a white parent and instill good morals and good values and understand that there's equality for everyone, right? And it's another thing for you to be a white parent or even a white kid and not tell your kid to tell others to be the same way. It's one thing for you to keep your household a certain way and be positive and bring everybody together and have inclusion. It's another thing for that same white kid or white parent to go and see other white kids and white parents acting the opposite and not saying anything, because that's wrong too. So I would teach the white parents, I would teach my kids to not only be an upstanding citizen and treat everybody the same and everyone's equal, but I would encourage them to, you know, stand up to those that are the same color as them, other white people, to go up to them and stand up to them and say, hey, that's not right. Because that's what's missing as well in this world, is white people telling other white people that racism is not okay. That's what's missing. That's why there hasn't been change, because white people are afraid to tell other white people that there needs to be a change.